top European cash game pros have assembled alongside up-and-coming stars to take part in one of the most anticipated cash games of the year. Some have arrived on the back of glorious wins and made reputations, while others are here to build their own. Featuring a mixed lineup of seasoned pros and online specialists, including the 2008 Irish Open winner and the 2008 World Series of Poker main event champion. The stakes are high as the players risk not only their reputations, but also their own money in this no-limit cash game where a seat at the table costs a minimum of €10,000. This game is all about raking in the money. Lose and they can call on the banker, get back in the game and attempt to get out of the red. As we approach the final stages of our cash game, the players at the top of the leaderboard will aim to continue their attack on their less fortunate opponents who will be looking for that early double up. Those currently suffering include Finnish player Riku Vierasaari, as well as old boy Bambos, who was forced to rebuy after losing that monstrous pot to Eric Liu. The young American, who has so far had an impressive time at the table, will be looking to keep up the pressure on his opponent. Here's a reminder of who's at the table. In seat 1 is Albert Iverson. Along with 3 cash finishes in the 2008 WSOP, he recently placed 4th at the EPT in Budapest. To date, he's accrued nearly $500,000 in tournament winnings. Sitting beside him in seat 2 is the Danish sensation Peter Eastgate. By being crowned the 2008 WSOP main event champion, he pocketed $9.2 million and became the youngest player ever to win the event at the tender age of 22. In seat 3 is our only non-European player, Eric Liu. The American high-limit online specialist finished 4th in the 2008 London EPT and has amassed over $560,000 in tournament winnings for the year. In seat 4 is Neil Channing. 2008 was a great year for this Englishman who became Irish Open champion and cashed on an amazing 7 separate occasions in the WSOP in Las Vegas. In seat 5 is Jamie Brown. A recent university graduate, Jamie has decided to ply his trade in poker. The online tables have seen him earn a lot of money in a short amount of time, and he's eager to transfer his skills to the live arena. In seat 6 is Charlambos Santos, known to all as Bambos. This Cypriot-born player now lives in London and is regarded by many as one of the greatest cash game players around. Heralding from Northern Ireland, Andy Black's in seat 7 and his tournament winnings to date exceed $4 million. His biggest success came when he finished 5th at the 2005 WSOP main event. He's currently #1 on the all-time Irish money list. In seat 8 is Riku Vierasaari, who concludes our lineup. Born in Finland, Riku is a high-stakes online specialist who's recently taken a break from the tables to travel the globe. Before we get into the action, let's check out how our players stand so far. As you can see, really big swings, huge numbers. This is real money, folks. And Bambos and Riku Vierasaari are suffering at the moment. They are the big 5-figure losers in the game. If somebody's losing, somebody's got to be winning. Albert Iverson and Eric Liu dueling out at the top of the leaderboard. They look favourites for our title, but this is no limit and anything can happen. Hello everyone and welcome to the Poker Heaven European Cash Game. This is a high-stakes poker clash between some of the best poker brains on the planet. We're going to get big pots, big action, and we're going to have a lot of fun as well.
Okay, raise, 350 to play.
350's been more or less the standard raise when the straddle's been on.
Silky.
350.
Hasn't managed to get anything to work for him so far today, Riku.
Re-raise.
Oh, this is very aggressive from Eric, re-raising when Riku opened under the gun.
Well, he's behind right now, but he's taking control of this pot. I think Riku's best bet is to 3-bet it or to muck, and he's decided to muck.
Yeah, Eric had a quiet spell in our game, but he's back with a vengeance now. Hasn't lost too many pots today, has he?
No.
Make it to the 100k mark?
Which is pretty well what you want to do when you're playing in a cash game.
Always interesting in a cash game, Gary, when you played the same lineup for a while, the reads from these players should be pretty well developed now.
Yeah, you should have a pretty good clue of the range of hands that different players are playing in different positions. A kind of feel for how they like to play certain types of hands. That's one of the skills you have to pick up as a poker player. It's not just about the odds, it's not just about your hand, it's about how your opponents play. And certain players have different types of patterns of the kind of hands they like to play, where they like to play them. And that's the kind of thing you have to watch for.
Oh. Apparently everyone just wants to suck out on me because they all think I'm in it. I didn't.
Something you can lose a bit when you're playing multiple screens and stuff online. Not something you might be used to.
Good.
Well, they've got 4 players for this one.
Ace.
Huh? So one of us
Bambos flops the best hand.
Check.
Oh, excuse me, Andy Black with the
1,000.
big blind special.
Nice.
See him sitting
2,500
quietly there with
quid.
2 pair.
3,000 total, so.
And he was on the button.
3,000
I'll get something
total.
right in this hand in a minute.
Yeah, he's got a big blind special on the button.
Yeah, I forgot it was Andy Black. And he's going to play it fast, and this is not an easy spot for Bambos at all, is it?
No,
Cool.
there's been no clue that his hand's behind before the flop. If it comes with a club or something on the turn, it could have carried on.
Check.
There weren't many draws on the flop, so there's not actually an awful lot that Bambas can beat now. He's got ace-10, so he's losing to ace-jack, ace-queen, ace-9. Is Andy Black going to do this with ace-8? There's no draws, or at least there weren't on the flop.
You look a little bit mean there, son. What you got? Ace-9?
What do you got? Ace king.
You must have ace-9.
Well,
I think you're giving Andy Black a bit too much credit.
yeah, he's got the right strength of hand, though. Key is Bambos, what can you beat?
Let me check again in case I'm making a mistake here.
I guess you just hate to fold top pair to a player like Andy Black, who is aggressive and will
Show
make
one.
moves.
Show one.
Pass.
Show one.
He's already showed one so many times.
But is the key there
Go on, I'll show you.
the fact that he really only beats a
One.
bluff?
Exactly.
Anyone?
Anyone.
Don't pick the wrong
This
one.
one?
Don't pick the wrong one.
Is there a 5 there?
Well, he showed the 5. Maybe he's giving him ace-5 now. That's going to play on that. If there wasn't a 5 on the board, Bambas has got him beat. That's going to play on his head.
Well, Andy Black's in profit substantially now, €9,500 up.
9-5.
To get started, one player is made the nominated dealer or button. Then the 2 players to the left post the small and big blinds. These are forced bets to get the action started. The big blind is always double the small, but unlike a tournament, the blinds rarely change. However, they are sometimes increased to spice up the action. We start here with 25 and 50 euros. Once the blinds are posted, everyone is dealt 2 cards. We have a round of betting. Then 3 cards are placed face up on the table called the flop. These are the community cards for all the players to use. Then we have another round of betting, after which the 4th card, the turn, is placed in the middle. This is followed by some more betting, and finally the last community card, the river. Then we finish off with a final round of betting, and the best 5-card hand takes the money.
It's working out. See, that's what I'm telling you.
I know, I've been learning from Albert.
We're watching some of the best cash players in Europe, and one from the States to boot. Locking horns in a really exciting game of poker. Super deep stacks and the possibility of a massive confrontation. I make it that we've got about 200,000 euros on the table.
Yeah, and we could have an almost €100,000 pot if Albert and Eric decide to clash.
3 5s, yeah.
That's what I'm rooting for, Gary, I'll be honest.
350?
Well,
350 to
they've been
play.
playing fast enough. They both wanted to gamble.
Find out ace 5.
And speaking of gambling, here comes Eric Luke
Okay, call.
calling the raise
I saw into
of
your soul.
Riku.
It could be ace 5 of hearts.
No, I looked in his soul. It's definitely 9-5.
Definitely. It's fat.
Plus
Might
when
have
he,
been 5 king.
plus when he lifted the 9 to fold it,
5
I
six.
saw it. That was the other
Zero
clue.
other options.
There's no
Check.
5 6.
There was an extra clue because when he threw the card in, he kind of lifted the 9 a little bit. And I saw it.
700 to play.
Did I say, did I?
No, you did. It was a 9.
just praying bloody Bambus didn't have
Bet from Riku, call from Eric.
Yeah, Eric's read this right so far.
I know we play a set the same way. You know?
Well, he's caught a pair now, Riku. Really hasn't managed to get anything to work for him today. I feel sorry for him because he hasn't really done much wrong.
It's a funny game, poker, isn't it, to watch, because if you change his opponent's cards, Riku, he could be well up and looking like a genius with some of the moves he's made. It's just that people have had enough to call him all the time.
Exactly, and that's kind of been his story for the day.
Yeah, just move all in. That would have won it.
I was only calling up to 1700 with the 9-5 brief.
That was basically your way of winning. I think you missed a trick there, man. That's going down as an unforced error.
Yes, 1700, that's it. No more with the 9-5.
1200 to play.
Well, Eric Lou's bet his queen here, Gary. Do you read this as a value bet or a sort of combination of a value bet and a slightly defensive bet as well?
Yeah, it could be a stop bet. I don't think there's an awful lot he's going to get called with there, but there's been spots where I've said that earlier on, and he's managed to get himself a caller from a worse hand.
You didn't like that, did you?
Played very, very well today so far, Eric. Always seemed to have kind of slightly better than his opponent, which is pretty well what you want in poker. Whereas this man, who hasn't really done much wrong, Riku, just always seems to find his opponent with a hand.
Yeah, bad day at the office so far for Riku, but it's not over. The night is yet young, Gary.
Unfortunately, I'm not. But
Desperate times.
plenty of players
Still in your prime, man. Come on.
plenty of chance for these players to get out of it.
There is. A lot could change.
I had you behind me. Sammy.
Bambos needs a lot to change. He's a decent amount down. Raises with the Queen Jack. And gets action. Andy Black is going to call with, let's say, a speculative hand.
1200.
Riku's in.
And now we've got a re-raise from Peter Eastgate. Making the squeeze play with a bit of a marginal hand is Queen 9.
Yeah, a lot of players in the pot in front of him. That doesn't phase him.
50 in there like you.
Mine. Take half of mine.
I already folded.
Aggressive play from the young Danish player.
You could have gone halves.
And Bambus is calling this, just trying to get something to work for him.
Well, that could entice the others in.
Well, Andy's called. And so's Riku.
Not Peter Eastgate's plan A, is it?
No.
That always happens. I should never fold.
And the ironic thing is, I think if Bambos does make the lay down,
6 jack.
it might have got through. Bambos must have liked the jack, doesn't like the king much.
No.
Still the best hand, though.
Riku's flopped a straight draw.
Check.
Peter Eastgate's flopped, well, a gut shot. But he's going to try and represent this king.
300.
What did you say?
Yeah, 2,300 into a pot of 48.
2,300.
So there's good value for this. Call from Bambus. And it's going to be at least a call here from Riku.
It's magic.
Told me I get this if I win.
Really? Yeah. Wow.
Yep, not too surprised that this was going to happen. Looked like an absolute perfect spot for it.
And finally, he may get a move to work.
Something.
The Finnish player.
Well, maybe you should just say that. But I won like, beautiful, $100. Give me that.
Big semi-bluff from him with the open-ended straight draw. We know that Peter Eastgate can't call.
Oh dear, oh dear. Give me the change, please.
That's not usually a sign that somebody's going to put more money in the pot, is it?
Not really. He lays it down, and Riku finally gets a pot to work. Maybe that's a sign that his luck's changing. Good for him. I felt sorry for him. He hasn't really done too much wrong. Just picked the wrong time. And quite often in poker, timing is everything. And this time he got it right.
Well, that's helped him a little bit. He was over 17,000 in the hole at one point. And he's reduced that to a 4-figure deficit. Looking up the mountain, though, to Albert Iverson and Eric Lou, our big winners on the day so far. Join us after the break for more action from the European Cash Game.